So that's where I was. I was talking about life being a roller coaster. That we have the ups and we have the downs, and I said the key thing, the most important thing, is to have more of the up days than the down days. And the point of self-motivation is to ensure that we have more up days than the down days, that we have more of those good days where we're feeling upbeat, days that we're feeling more at it, wanting to really do stuff, than the down days where we're feeling like we can't do anything, we're demotivated, because we'll have those days at one point or another in our lives. But we just need to minimize the number of those days, because the less of those days we have, the more success we can have over time. Right. Now let's move on to the next part of our conversation. Humans versus artificial intelligence. Humans versus AIs. Now, this is a debate that has been going on for some time, and I want to throw it out there as well today. AIs, artificial intelligence even, are they smarter than humans? Or let me simplify the question. Are computers smarter than humans? What do you think, guys?
Hi, Eva here. I'm going to come in because I'm very passionate about this.
Yeah, go for it.
I think with AI, it's learned human behavior. So they're fed onto, you gather the data and then put it on, and then they assimilate what the human is going to sort of answer to a question.
Yeah.
Are they smarter than humans? Because they have the pre-fed information, they can give you information faster.
Yeah.
Whether that's faster than humans, still a debate. But because they're programmed to do that, and then be fed information, that's what I think. I mean, there's some elements of AI, like there's some elements of, you're still gonna intrinsically have the human emotion and the human interaction, which they cannot do now. But if you feed them data and you need to produce this data, then yes, they're faster. Yeah, but hey, I'm happy for this debate.
It's a very interesting debate, that one, isn't it? What do you guys? What do others think? Do you think AI?
Okay, Charles, can I come in?
Yeah. Is it Emily?
Yes.
Yeah, come in.
So for me, my short answer will be humans are smarter.
Yeah.
Because humans are the ones now who've discovered these robots and artificial intelligence. Until we have it the other way around, maybe we can start talking about the robots being smarter than the humans.
Yeah. We're even talking about maybe in the future the robots are going to take over the world, isn't it? And they're going to be they're going to outsmart us and start controlling us. Who knows? But it's one of those things. I think there was someone else who had something to contribute before we carry on.
Yeah, it was me, Charles.
Yeah, go for it, Tommy, and then we'll carry on.
Yeah. What I've got, what I think about the matter is AI or robots or computerized objects are smarter or better, shall I say, at doing certain jobs or specific jobs. Say, for example, you're in a factory and there's it's a car line, and they have to put in a door, or they have to laser cut a piece of metal, a specific part of the car, and these repetitive things. Robots or AI are currently only good or better than humans at doing specific jobs. But if you put them in a situation where they have to walk, they also have to talk, they also have to make decisions, they also have to throw a stick for a dog, anything else, all these different combinations, it becomes extremely difficult for that AI to do all these things. So it's only specific jobs that that the humans program into the AI that they can do better than humans at the moment.
Thank you, Tommy. I see Paul, you've got you raised your hand. Do you have something to say? Really quick, we can carry on with the discussion.
Yeah, can I say something to later?
Who's that?
Grace.
Grace. Okay, Paul, and then Grace, and then I'll carry on the presentation. Yeah. Paul first.
Yeah, for me, I think saying those things are intelligent than people is like saying that human beings are intelligent than God. For those who believe in God, because humans are the one who designed those things.
That's right.
Yes, they can do other jobs better, but they are never no near compared to human. Another example is like human, they have made the airplane, they have made great things in this world, but there is no way you can say that we are smarter than God, because we have made some of the things that God did not do or did not make. But yet he's far more than us. So as we humans, we are smarter than those things. We are smarter than those artificial intelligence or computers and everything, because we are the one who actually created them.
Fantastic. Grace, and then we'll wrap it up.
That we are smarter than computers or AIs because we designed them. They are more efficient and productive because they are not disturbed by feelings, distractions, and other stuff. They do what we've designed them to do. But human beings, you get this, you got feelings, you got disturbance, you got distractions, and that affects your productivity. Yeah, that's what I
Can I say something?
It seems like people are so interested in this one. Go for it, Mr. Kanina.
Yes, I think I consider computers to be in the category of tools or instruments to be used by human beings. And we use different types of tools or instruments. And these instruments, what they do, they add variables to our work, like speed, efficiency, quality, those type of variables, they add, but they are working tools.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Now let's get going. The reason I brought that discussion, I don't want us to go too much on a tangent on that particular discussion, because it's not the primary focus of our conversation today. But the reason I brought that up is mainly because what Mr. Kanina has just pointed out at the end, and I think a few more did mention, that machines are more efficient in doing certain things. Or let me put it this way, machines or AIs are more efficient in doing what they were made to do. And that's the difference between machines and humans. I totally agree with you. I don't think machines are any smarter than humans. In fact, I don't think machines can be called smart, in all fairness, because they don't have brains as humans do. They just have a program, and that program has been made by humans, and it does a specific job. So I totally agree with you. But the point I wanted to bring up was the fact that machines are more efficient than we are, and that's the question I wanted us to ask ourselves today. Let me actually go to the next slide. Machines, or artificial intelligence for that matter, it doesn't need any motivation. Humans do need motivation to act. For us to do things, we have to be motivated to do that. We have to almost like be pumped up to do that. We have to be given the reasons why we have to do that. We have to know why we're doing it. We need that motivation, that drive to do it. Machines, on the other hand, they don't. As long as that machine is in a working order, as long as that computer is in a working order, and it has the right program in it, it will always do exactly what it was programmed to do, and it will always do it 100%. Machines have a 100%. I call it action to intention ratio, an AI ratio. It's called. They have a 100% AI ratio. What does that mean? It means that they will do 100% of what they've been programmed to do. Okay, so if a computer is programmed to start when you press this button, it will always start. The day it stops starting, it's because there is a problem and it needs to be fixed. So as long as it's in right working order, it will always start. Or if you key certain things, it will always give you the same results. So machines are like that. They always operate at a perfect efficiency, always 100%. But humans, unfortunately, we fall way short of that. If our action to intention ratio, the amount of, ask yourself a question: how many things did you say you were going to do, say last year, for instance? How many things did you say you were going to do last year and you didn't do? How many things did you say you were going to do last month and you didn't do? Okay, so that itself points out to the fact that our action to intention ratio is really low. We end up doing only a fraction of the things we've said that we're going to do. And actually there's a research that was done by Bristol University in 2007. And it showed that 88% of New Year resolutions fail. I should say 88% of New Year's resolutions are not accomplished, are not pursued. And basically that, if you convert that to AI ratio, that comes to like 12% AI ratio. It means only 12% of what people said they were going to do in that particular year actually did them, because 88% were not done. So it shows that our AI ratio is way below in comparison to computers. And I think that has to do so much with motivation, because we need to be motivated to do things. So when we lack that motivation, that self-motivation, that drive, that's when we fail to do the things that we said we'll do. That's why self-motivation is so important. It's so important to keep ourselves motivated, to keep that drive going. I know we all have our dreams, we all have our ambitions, we all have our goals. But for us to be able to wake up every morning and strive to fulfill those goals, strive to do what we said we're going to do, we need to keep motivating ourselves constantly and ensure that we do what we say we do. And that way we can start raising that AI ratio a bit higher up than what it is at the moment. Let's see what comes up next. So in a nutshell, self-motivation is that force that drives you to do things, like what I said before. So that force that drives you to do things is what self-motivation is. And it's what pushes us to achieve our goals, feel more fulfilled, and improve the overall quality of life. Okay. So it's like without it, we become apathetic. Apathy. Apathy is when you lack the drive, when you feel like you can't do anything. You don't feel the urge to do anything. It is something that people who are depressed tend to get, apathy. That's why they tend to just stay in bed, they stay in their bedrooms, they don't want to do anything. They feel like, life is meaningless, they feel like they don't have any contribution. That's what apathy does to you. So motivation is exactly the opposite. Motivation is when you feel like I can take on anything. I can take over the world. I can do all things. That sort of feeling, that sort of state of mind that you can be in is what motivation does for you. And it's what really improves the quality of your life, because you feel fulfilled. It brings that sense of fulfillment, that sense of achievement. So motivation is derived from the word motive, which basically is a need that requires satisfaction. That's what motivation is. Motivation is when we have this urge in us, this drive, this thing in us that requires satisfaction. And it is our quest to satisfy that need that we call motivation. You feel that need to improve yourself. So that becomes a motivation for you, say, to enroll yourself in a new course at university or college, or to look for a new job, or to change your career, because of that urge to make a better life for yourself. So motivation, it is that need that requires satisfaction that is in you. Okay. Now, very quickly, I want us to talk about forces for action. Then we're going to have a bit of a discussion after that. We're going to have a bit of a discussion after that. I can see that some great messages there on the chat section. Keep them coming, keep them coming. After this point, we'll have a bit of a discussion and then we'll carry on. So forces for action. You know, in life, I consider that there are two major forces that can drive us into action. Okay. You can either call them, it can be ambition or necessity. Now, let me explain what I mean by ambition and necessity. Ambition versus necessity. Ambition is when you're looking forward, when you're looking to the future, and you're saying, I want to achieve this and that and this and that. You're looking up. Ambition is when you're looking up. You know, I want to get better at this. I want to do this. I want to achieve that. That's what ambition is. Okay. Necessity, on the other hand, is when you're doing things because if you don't, you know, you end up with pain. Okay. So for instance, if you're going to work because you know that if I don't work, I would not be able to pay my bills, or I would not be able to put food on the table, or I would not be able to do this or that. That becomes, you start doing things out of necessity. So both cases will lead to action. You know, ambition may lead to action. You know, you're so ambitious, you want to achieve great things, you want to develop, you want to do better for yourself, and therefore that ambition drives you to do certain things. But necessity as well can drive you to do things as well. So you're afraid that the rent is coming at the end of the month. You know there are bills to pay. You know, maybe you're also paying school fees. I don't know. Or so that fear of the pain associated with you suffering is what drives you to act. And so you're acting on necessity. Okay. Another way of looking at it is inspiration versus desperation. Again, exactly the same thing. You can act because of inspiration. You're inspired. You've got this great idea. You've got this great dream. You've got this great mentor that you really inspires you to do great things. You know, so you have this inspiration. You've come to this seminar here today. We've been talking about self-motivation. You become really inspired. You want to start doing things for yourself. That is inspiration. It drives you to action. The opposite of it is desperation. What is desperation? Desperation, again, the same thing like necessity. You're really struggling, you know, you're trying to avoid pain, things are not going your way, you know, you've got debt collectors left, right, and center. So what do? Again, you have to act. So you start acting, you're starting to pull your socks, you're trying to do things so that you can change that situation. Again, inspiration, desperation, both leads to action, but from two completely opposite ways. One is pulling you towards your future and your dream. The other one is you trying to run away from the pain of your current circumstance. So it's really important to understand these two. But the question we need to ask ourselves here today is yes, these are both forces acting to get us to act. But which one is more important? Which one do you think can bring more results? You know, which one do you think can get you to achieve your goals a lot quicker and more efficient? Let me pose that question to the delegates here today. What do you think? Do you think inspiration is better than desperation? Do you think ambition is better than necessity? Or do you think otherwise? What do you think, guys? Let me have a few contributions and then we can continue.
I'll come in, Charles.
Yeah, yes, Emily.
Okay. So the way I look at it, just looking generally in life, most of us have ambition, but because at that point it's not a necessity, procrastination actually kicks in. Mm-hmm. There is no time, there is no pressure to achieve what you need to achieve. So if you're talking of which of the two makes you achieve faster or act faster, I think necessity, when you are now pushed into a corner and you have no option other than to act.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Emily. What do others think?
I'm going to come in with Emily and totally agree with what she said, because I think it depends on what point in life you're in, because we're talking about motivation. The necessity can lead you to motivation to do that. The desperation can give you the motivation to do what you need to do. So I just think in every point of this too, I just think it depends on what point you are in life. So I totally agree with Emily.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. One more person, and then we'll crack on.
Can I say something, please?
Can I
say something, please?
I see Tombe has something to say, and there was someone else. Who is it? Is it
me? Kanina.
Kanina. Okay. Tombe first, and then Kanina, and then we'll crack on.
Yeah, when it comes down to ambition and necessity and inspiration versus desperation, I think that there are two different categories. Inspiration is more of a choice, you see. Desperation is when you don't have any choice at all and your back is against the wall, and basically you have no other avenues to go down. Desperation can lead to, I think it's even like links into the primitive brain, fight or flight. You know, you have to get this done. You know, it's a matter of survival. You know, so it's that primitive area of the brain that tells us, you know, we're in desperation mode now. Is all or nothing. But inspiration is more of a choice. You know, you choose to do something that you love, that you're inspired by. You know, so I think that's where the difference is.
Brilliant, brilliant. Dr. Kanina, and then we'll
Can
I think I agree with all the previous speakers, because according to me, this side of necessities and desperation, I include them in what Maslow said, a hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
There are certain things that basically you must have them in order to live or to survive or to have life going on. And you are compelled. There is no choice. It is. You are not doing them for luxury or for enjoyment, but it is a need that it must be met. And I think these categories of necessities and desperations falls into that. So I agree with Emily and everybody else.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Was there someone else? I thought there was someone.
Can I say? Hello.
Who is it? Unfortunately, I'm looking at you on my phone. I can't really see.
I'm here, or if someone else is around.
Yeah, it was
I think,
me.
can I say ambition and inspiration are, long-term goals. They are sustainable. Whereas necessity and desperation are one-off. You achieve that end and then you sit down. Say, I've done it, no more. Desperation to solve that problem, and then you'll be relaxing. So the ambition and inspiration are long-term goals.
Yeah.
And they are sustainable.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think.
Hello, Charles.
That's what
Charles,
can I? It's great.
Charles, can I say something? Hello, Charles.
Who's this? Emeka.
Emeka, yes.
Emeka and Anthony was also up.
Okay, so I'll allow Emeka and Anthony, and then we'll have to carry on. Yeah, but very briefly, go on, Emeka.
Yeah, for ambition and inspiration, it's more or less like it's similar. What the answer I want to give is similar to what people have said previously. I would say ambition and inspiration, they are quite similar, in the sense of it's more or less like looking ahead and knowing what you want in terms of your dreams and ambitions, setting plans and guidelines of what you really want to accomplish. Kind of like there's always that question. Like, for example, someone can ask you a question: where do you see yourself in 10 years to come, career-wise? Some people might say, my main ambition is to own my own charity foundation. My main ambition is to be my own boss, running anything of my passion. Necessity and desperation, in a way, I would say is more or less like a do or die affair. If I don't do this, it means I'm a failure. So we all do things in the means of, like what Tombe mentioned, fight or flight, in a way, like in terms of, if I don't do this, is more or less like the be all and end all for me. Like I have nothing else going on for me.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Emeka. Last person, Anthony, and then we carry on.
Yeah, man, I think, sorry, I was just trying to support what Toby was saying, like, and inspiration and desperation. When you are desperate to do something, the moment you achieve that place is where you stop. You are not going to continue with that. But with inspiration, it is something that you can continue, you know. You can develop on that because it is something that you have passion about, you can do, you know. If I'm desperate to succeed, or if I have a push factors that are pushing me to do this thing, the moment I complete that particular time, hey, I'm not going to do it again. You know, that's not what I wanted to do. But when I'm inspired to do something, especially like being a writer, whether I succeed or become a published writer or like still doing, I will still keep that work that has not been published, but yet still I will still keep doing different form of writing because I love doing what I'm doing, you know. So that's what I just wanted to say.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. I know there's still lots of other contributions, but let's crack on a little bit. You can see when you talk of ambition versus necessity, inspiration versus desperation, there are keywords that kept coming out. Almost everybody has been mentioning those. We've been talking about choice. We've been talking about survival, okay? And we have to understand, when it comes to desperation and necessity, it all speaks about survival. It's all about you doing just enough to get you by. We are creatures of we're survival creatures, okay? Humans and all animals are. What does that mean? It means that we have been wired to survive. There is a saying I like to say that we instinctively we survive, but to thrive we need to think and decide. Okay, what does that mean? It means that if it's about survival, we do that instinctively. You know, put me in a corner, I will do whatever it takes to survive. You know, if I don't have any food, I will do anything to make sure that I put food on the table. That is desperation, and that leads to survival. But like many of you have said, usually that will not take me forward. That will not take me towards my dream. That will just allow me to survive. And like someone just asked before, if once that need is met, you know, like when Dr. Kanina was talking about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once that need is met, you lose all impetus, you lose all motivation to keep doing what you're doing. Why? Because your need is already met anyway, so why should you continue? You understand? So usually desperation and necessity keeps us in that holding pattern. You know, it just allows us to do just enough to survive. You know, if I'm cornered, I'll do just enough to survive, and then I'll stay there. But if we want to make positive steps, if we want to improve our lives, if we want to do better, if we're thinking in terms of goals and dreams and what we want to achieve in the future, then definitely we can't rely on necessity and desperation. We can't rely on survival instincts to get there, because we will never get there, because we are not built to thrive. We are built to survive. So to be able to thrive, we have to think and decide. We need to make decisions. We need to make choices. We need to be inspired. And that's where self-motivation comes in. Another concept to add on top of that, which is very similar also, is positive and negative reinforcement, as described by B.F. Skinner, an American psychologist who first described the operant conditioning, which is what is used today in behavior management and in fact, even the way we train our kids, it's all to do with positive and negative reinforcement. But what psychologists have found is that positive reinforcement is more effective, and it brings more lasting results than negative reinforcement. Let me give you examples of positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. If I'm trying to train a child to brush his teeth, for instance, I can choose to offer rewards to the child every time he brushes his teeth properly, okay? And so by offering a reward, that becomes a positive reinforcement, because the child learns that if I brush my teeth properly, I get a reward, okay? So it becomes a positive reinforcement. So the child is encouraged to do that good behavior in order to get a reward. And over time, the child learns to do that good behavior. And even with that, in the absence of a reward, the child will still do that behavior because it has become a learned behavior. Negative reinforcement is exactly the opposite. This time, it's like if the child does not brush his teeth properly, I will punish the child, okay? Whatever that punishment is, naughty step, caning, whatever, you name it. So here the child is also learning. He's learning that if I don't do it properly, I get punished. So I have to do it properly to avoid punishment. So the child is also learning to brush properly, but this time it's not because he's seeking the reward, but it's because he's trying to run away from the pain of the punishment, okay? Does that also work? Yes, it does. But what the psychologists have found is that the positive reinforcement, the reward, is more effective at developing the behavior than the negative reinforcement will. And once those two stop, the child is more likely to go back to the old ways if you were using negative reinforcement than if you were using positive reinforcement. Therefore, positive reinforcement tends to instill a much longer lasting effect on the person. And therefore, in the same token as inspiration and desperation, I think when it comes to forces for action, it is very important for us to motivate ourselves, to inspire ourselves, to really have something that we look up to, something that we want to aspire to, because that is a much greater force for change than trying to run away from pain. Because if it's about running away from pain, as soon as that pain subsides, or as soon as we are used to that pain, because sometimes we can get used to pain. You know, in Swahili we have this saying that goes like this: "Zimu likujualo halikuli ukakwisha," which literally means that, you know, if you're going through, sometimes you're better off with the demon that you know. If I literally translate that, you know, so it's better the demon that you know than the unknown, if you like. So sometimes that's the thing. You could get used to your problems. You could get used to the pain. You could get comfortable with your uncomfortable situation. And therefore, you might not really do much to change your circumstance if you're relying on desperation, because once you get used to it, then it's not desperate anymore. And therefore, you know, there is no motivation to do anything. So inspiration is very important. We need to keep ourselves inspired. We need to keep ourselves ambitious, and self-motivation goes a long way into inspiring you daily and ensuring that you can keep pressing for your goals. Right now,
Can I say something, Charles?
Is it okay if I finish this slide first and then I'll give you a chance? Then we can have a bit discussion, Mr. Kalina. Or does it have to come now? Allow me to finish this part and then we can have a discussion. All right. Okay. So, like I said before, acting based on necessity leads to survival. Okay, like what I said, because we're creatures we're survival creatures. So if you're acting on necessity, all it will lead to is you just do just enough to survive, you know, because you're doing it out of necessity. But if you're acting out of ambition, fueled by self-motivation, that will lead to growth, thriving, and success. Because this time you're not just worried of your current circumstance, how good or bad it is. You're thinking about where you're trying to go, and as a result, that ambition, which comes through self-motivation, will lead to you growing, expanding, thriving, and eventually it will lead to success. Yeah, here's the quote that I was telling you, that instinctively we survive, but to thrive, we need to think and decide. Okay? Instinctively we survive, but to thrive, we need to think and decide. Right. Now, before we go to motivation killers, Dr. Kanina, you want to come in?
Yeah, I wanted to put a small defense on the side of those people who are on the necessity line, the necessity desperation line.
Yep.
I want to argue that this other ambition side fits well in what we call business model. And the one which comes instinctively comes under natural model. Now, the difference is that all living things live by nature, naturally. Human beings live by business model, which introduces competition. And competition, what it does is to downtrod the powerless. It is based on power. So we can make justified argument on each one of these. And well, I'm not saying this one is right or wrong. And I think that is the way I would like to look at it.
That's a very interesting point you brought up there, Dr. Kanina. But let me pose it with a question. So if your aim is, say, to because when we talk of self-motivation, like when I was introducing this topic, I'm talking of it in the context of you trying to achieve something, achieve your goals, achieve your dreams, and usually in that case there are things much greater than your current circumstance. And now the question I'm posing is, do you think living a life out of desperation, or no, let me not put it that way, let me put it acting out of desperation, or acting out of what's the other word that we were using before, necessity, or acting out of necessity, do you think you'll be able to achieve your goals? Because usually when you talk of goals, you're not talking of your current circumstance, you're not talking of what you're doing at the moment to make ends meet, you're talking of where you're actually trying to go. Do you think you're more likely to achieve those goals if you act out of necessity, or if you act out of ambition or inspiration? And I think that's the important question to ask ourselves, that we all operate out of necessity, all of us. Why? Because that's how humans are wired. We are creatures of survival, and there are times that we'll have to act on necessity. There are times where we'll have to act out of desperation. It's true. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to go beyond that, because if, like I said before, if we do just that, we end up in a holding pattern. And the holding pattern, it means that we are not expanding, we are not growing, we are not developing, we are just maintaining survival. We're just staying alive. We're just staying just above water. You understand? But that's not the way to live. I think there is more to life than just staying above water. We have to aim higher. We have to have more ambition, more desire, more drive, more inspiration, something we look forward to, which drives us to change, to grow, and to really develop into the people that we want to be. And I think that's the difference. But the distinction that you brought, Dr. Kanina, I thought it was really good. The business model versus the natural model, which is the survival one, versus the business, which is the thriving one and the expanding and the power. Use the good word, the power model, which is really good. I think let's continue to the next section, which is motivation killers. So here I want us to talk about really quickly what things can actually kill our motivation, because we, like I said, life is a roller coaster. There are times we are up, we're feeling invincible. There are times we're down, we're feeling useless. Okay, so what causes that? And I thought so much about this, and I came up with quite a number of motivation killers, but this list is by no means exhaustive. And I hope we'll have a bit of a discussion on other motivation killers that you guys might think you know of, either personally or you think could be motivation killers, and we can have a bit of discussion on that before we go to the next stage. Now, the first one on my list is physical. Okay, now physically, what can really kill our motivation is if our physical health is not great. I mean, if I have an ill health, or I'm feeling fatigued all the time, I have lethargy, I don't have the physical drive and energy, then that will kill my motivation. I may have great ambitions. I may want to do this and that and the other. I wake up in the morning and say, today I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But if my body doesn't allow me to do that physically, I mean, in terms of my fitness and my health, then chances are my motivation will go right down. I won't be able to fulfill anything. Why? Because I just don't have the physical energy to do that. Another one is mental. And I've put it there, lack of knowledge. You know, if you do not know any better, if you don't have the right information, if you don't know what can really galvanize you to do things and to do it right, then it kills your motivation. A friend of mine, and a good friend of mine that I've known for many years, we actually went to university together. He's now invested a lot in farming, and he's done so well for himself in that area, and he's expanded into wholesale selling of his produce into supermarkets and this. So he's going places in short. And there was one time I was having a conversation with him, and then we started talking about motivation and keeping yourself at it and making sure that you keep doing the things you said you do. And he said one thing that he's found very useful to him to keep himself motivated is books. So what he does is that he always reads books. He always finds knowledge, because what he's realized is that the more new knowledge he gets, the more motivated he becomes. Because he finds out new ways to do things. You know, he finds new challenges. He hears people's testimonies. He hears what others have done. He gets stories of success from others, and that really motivates him. And so at that time, that was actually a few years back when I was having this conversation with him. He had this really strict routine of reading books, and I think he was reading like something like it was something like 3 books every month or something like that. It was ridiculous. The guy was book mongering like crazy. I mean, I'm trying to read a lot of books, but I can't get anywhere near that. I think I'm kind of reading like only 1 book a month or something like that. But to him, that knowledge, you know, knowing things, knowing new ideas, knowing about people, and knowing about the success of others is what really motivates him to do things. So sometimes ignorance and lack of knowledge can be a motivational killer. Another way of looking at it is that negative mindset, because if you're not looking at the success of others, if you're not learning from others, if you're not learning new ways to do things, then even your mindset can be affected, and as a result, that will affect you mentally, and that will pull you down, and it will kill your motivation to achieve what you wanted to achieve. Other things are emotional things like fear, anger, depression, hate. All those things can suck up the energy. You don't realize how much hate can suck energy out of you, you know. Or anger, you know, when you're angry at people, when you're having a bad day, you know, at work, and people are really messing with your head, and you're really so becoming upset about it, that can really take your motivation away, even on the things that are completely unrelated to what you are angry about. You know, you may be angry with your children, for instance, for them not doing their homework, or not eating properly, or not brushing their teeth, going back to that example as before. But then that can end up sucking all the energy out of you, and you may end up lacking motivation to really pursue your dream on that particular day, or do the things that you wanted to do. Or even if when you do them, you're doing them without that drive, without, you remember when I say that creativity that comes with excitement and inspiration. And as a result, you become very ineffective. So your emotions can really kill your motivation. It's really important to realize that. The next one is social, and I think this is a big one. I mean, nothing kills motivation like negative people. The people you surround yourself with can really suck the energy out of you. And negative people, man. it's, you may say like, oh, these are just friends. It's just, we're just having fun. We're just talking. But when people say negative stuff to you, what it does to you, it brings stress in you, because what tends to happen is inside you might think, I don't agree with this person, but then you listening to that information, you end up into this sort of tug of war within yourself, trying to almost like resist that information from having an imprint in you. And it's so frustrating. I mean, I've been in that situation. You're sitting in the midst of people who are say they're gossiping about people, or they're very negative about certain things, and you're just sitting there and you're not really contributing, and maybe you're even trying to be positive, trying to bring positive things, but it becomes a very difficult situation. And when you come out of that, you feel so drained. Why? Because it sucks all the energy out of you. It sucks all the motivation out of you. And you don't even have that drive to do what you said you do anymore, because, or you just spent 10 minutes with some really pessimistic people. So that is something to really watch. If you're trying to go somewhere, if you're really trying to achieve your dreams, you really need to be careful who you're associating with, because that can really add value to you, or mess things up for you. Another one, life challenges and difficulties. You remember I talked about Murphy's Law. If things could go wrong, they will go wrong. Life's challenges can really kill your motivation. You wake up in the morning expecting to do something great. Like myself today, I was so fired up, came here, wanted to do my training since morning. I was like, yeah, I can't wait for today. And here I am sitting on the computer. All of a sudden the sound goes. I managed to sort the sound out. The screen goes, and it's still going even now, by the way. I'm still using my mobile phone to see my presentation. But that's just the way life is. Big challenges will always come, difficulties will always come, and we'll always have to face them. But we have to understand that even those things can suck away our motivation, especially if we live under the impression that life should always be good. At the moment, I'm reading a book. I don't know if you've read this, a book by Dr. M. Scott Peck. Quite an old book, but quite famous one. The Road Less Traveled. And I've only just started it. I think I'm still in chapter 1. But I like the way the book starts, because right at the word go, at the very beginning, the author starts with saying that, life is full of problems, and if we can accept that life is full of problems, life is full of pain, life is full of challenges, and accept that it is an unavoidable truth, then we just by accepting it, we have solved half our problems. Why? Because part of the problems that we face as humans is not accepting the problems that we face. I don't know whether I'm making that makes sense. It's living under the assumption that life should not have problems, and therefore when we have problems, we get so frustrated and so depressed and so stressed, because we feel like this is not how we should be. We shouldn't have any problems. But the truth of the matter is, problems are always with us. Challenges are always with us, and they will always be with us. What we need to do, we need to learn to manage them. We need to learn to manage the challenges that we face, and we need to be able to overcome them. And when we overcome them, we grow. And what happens when we grow? We face new challenges. I have this saying that goes like this: we grow to face new challenges. That's just the way it is. It's not like when you grow, there won't be any challenges. Sometimes when you're going through your problems, you think like, once I finish these problems, that's it. It's going to be, honky-dory, no more problems. And then you get the shock of your life. Once you pass this test and you go to the next one, a new problem comes along. Because just the way life is. We have problems left, right, and center. So understanding that we do have challenges and we have difficulties, that we have to face them and we have to overcome them, goes a long way into helping you maintain your motivation levels. Because if you think otherwise, chances are when these challenges come, and they will come, it will knock down your motivation and it will kill it, and you won't be able to achieve the things you wanted to achieve. And finally, on my list, I have what I call unique triggers. Now, these are the things that we are unique to us. Okay, the things that really can kill your motivation, but may not necessarily apply to someone else. Now, when it comes to this particular point, it boils down to you finding yourself, you knowing yourself, you really analyzing yourself. For instance, I'll give you an example of mine. Okay, if I end up in a fight with my wife, okay, and this is honest truth, I'm telling you. And now this is me really throwing my life out there. You know, now you know it all. If I have a fight with my wife, my motivation goes completely. That day, I won't be able to do anything. I mean, whether it's to do with my own work, whether it's to do with my plans, whether it's, I may still do some work, but I will not be effective. Why? Because the emotional state that I'm in, or you know, the situation that, whether that be anger or just that emotion that I may be in, sucks up all the energy, and I can't do anything. So in a way, that has become almost like an extra incentive for me to always be in a beautiful state with my wife. You know, having a good time with her, because not only that is brilliant for me as a husband and for my wife, but it also helps me boost my motivation, because the better we are as a couple, the more motivated I am to pursue my dreams. And to me, I just found out that the hard way. And therefore now I'm using that almost as a tool to really galvanize myself and push myself forward. So the question I'm posing to you is, what are the triggers for you? What are the things that kill your motivation? Do you know them? If you don't know them, then I really encourage you to find out, to go into this sort of like self-search to kind of know yourself better and find ways to really motivate yourself. All right. Now, time has really gone. So if you'll allow me, guys, let me go through the next few slides, which is about how to stay motivated, and then we're going to have a couple of minutes of discussion at the end, and then we'll wrap this up. Is that okay? Let's go for it. So how do you stay motivated? Right. Do not seek perfection. Strive to improve daily. One of the biggest motivation killers is the idea of perfection. You know, idea of that something has to be perfect or not at all. And this is the reason that most of us tend not to do things, because we feel we can't do it perfectly. We can't do it the way someone else does it, for instance. And therefore, as a result, that kills our motivation, and we don't try. Now, the best advice I can give you is that don't seek perfection. Don't seek to do something perfectly, because you will never do anything perfect. Life is not meant to be perfect. Like I said before, Murphy's Law, we always have challenges. We always have problems. You know, even computer programs and car manufacturers and all these things, they make new cars, and these cars are so nice, and you think they're perfect, but you know, after a year, actually sometimes even just a couple of months, they realize that there are these glitches in those computers, these glitches in such programs, these glitches even in the cars, you know, and they have to tweak some things here and change some things there and maybe bring a new model in. Why? Because nothing is ever perfect. So the idea of perfection, just forget about it. Nothing is perfect. Always just seek to improve daily. That's the most important thing. If you can improve little by little on a daily basis, then you're going somewhere. Right, let's look at this Olympic motto here. This is the Olympic logo with the Olympic motto, which says, I think it's written in Greek. It says, Sitius, Altius, Fortius. Does anyone know what those three words mean? Anybody wants to have a go? Sitius, Altius, Fortius. Anybody?
We have not done Greek.
But we all love Olympics, don't we? Okay, here we go. This is what it means. Faster, higher, stronger. Okay, Sitius means faster. Altius, like altitude, means higher. And Fortius means stronger. Okay? Now, not that it is not fastest, highest, strongest. Okay? It is faster, higher, stronger. Now, this is what Olympic athletes do. Okay? When most athletes, when they go to the Olympics, they don't go there to be the fastest, to be the highest, to be the strongest. Okay? Because if that's your target, then it becomes very difficult to achieve. what they do something called, they track their personal best, PB, personal best, which basically is they just try to improve on their best performance yet. So if, say, you're a sprinter and your fastest time in sprinting has always been, is say 10 seconds flat. So what you do, you challenge yourself to do, say, 9.98, okay? You just want to shed 200th of a second from the 10, okay? And that's what that will be the target, say, for that week. And they will train just to bring it to that. And then the following day, they'll say, right, now that I've achieved 9.98, I want to target another one, say I want to go to 9.96, okay? They will not worry about the world record set by Usain Bolt, which is a ridiculous 9.58, I think, or something like that, because they know they can't achieve that. So they're not seeking perfection. All they're trying to do, they just want to keep improving daily. And that's what the Olympic motto is all about. It's all about improving. It's all about getting better on a daily basis. It's all about improving your personal best. And I think if we employ the same motto in our lives and try and improve daily, try and do a little bit more daily, and make sure that we are better today than we were yesterday, and that we become better tomorrow than we are today, I think our lives will change for the better, and we'll reap the rewards that otherwise we wouldn't do if we just focus on perfection. Because if we focus on perfection, we end up being crippled, we end up being paralyzed, and we end up not trying at all because nothing really works. Okay? So perfection demotivates, improvement motivates. If you see improvements, it motivates you to do more. Another thing you can do, keep learning. I talked about reading books and gave you the testimony of my friend. You know, read books, listen to audios, attend seminars. You know, times like this when we're talking right now, these sort of sessions, they really help to motivate you. They really help to fire you up. And it's something that you need to be doing regularly. We have these meetings every other week. You know, if you can attend these sort of meetings, these sort of spaces, they really help to galvanize you to do the things you said you would do. So it's really important to keep doing that, and to keep doing that regularly rather than a one-off thing. Share with others, you know, have time to share your dreams with others, your passion with others. Go through that journey of life with others, you know. People sometimes think that, you know, if I have my dream, I have my plans, you know, they feel ashamed to talk about it. They keep it to themselves. And as a result, they fail to do what they said they will do. Why? Because they kept it to themselves. And it's easy for that dream to die if it's kind of hidden away. The best way to keep your dream alive is to talk about it, share it with the loved ones, share it with your mentors, people that can hold you accountable, people that can help you and propel you to move forward. So sharing with others is very important. Teaching others, you know, this is what I do. I love to share all I know with you guys on a regular basis, because it helps you, but even more so, it also helps me, and it keeps pushing me forward towards my dream. So it's very important to keep sharing. You know, have a clear plan. Someone put it in the chat section earlier when we were talking about motivation and about inspiration. It's very important to have clear goals. You know, your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal versus your SMART goals. You know, your habits. You know, to keep improving them. To have a life balance. We've talked a lot about life balance. You know, following a program. I'm not sure if I've shared with you guys about the program that I'm following. Maybe another day I might spend time to do that with you specifically. But it's very important to have a plan with your life, because if you have a plan, it really helps to motivate you, because you can see where you're going, and that keeps you at it, and it really boosts your motivation to achieve the things you want to achieve. And I believe this is the last slide. Surround yourself with positive people. This goes without saying. You know, like I said before, negative people will always suck the energy out of you. So get yourself mastermind groups, people that will really drive you forward, will really encourage you, mentors, coaches. You know, Joel Osteen says you cannot hang out with negative people and expect to live a positive life. It can't happen. You know, you need to have positive people in your life. You know, get rid of negative people, like I said before. Avoid them, or always steer conversation into positive. Yeah, negative people need drama like oxygen. Stay positive, it will take their breath away. It's a really nice quote by Tony Gaskin. But these things are really important. You really need to look at your company, because your company can really determine your drive and your inspiration and your motivation in life. And finally, start your day right. I find this really useful to me personally. Usually, if I start my day right, and usually the way I start my day is I wake up at 6 o'clock every morning. I started by my personal devotionals. I read the Bible daily. I pray, because to me that works. When I do that, it really sets me out on the trajectory of really having a fantastic day. And usually after that, I'll sit down with my journal or with my planner, and I'll start writing down what I want to do for that day. By the time it gets to 7 o'clock and I start doing other things, I'm ready, man. I'm motivated. I'm fired up, and things, I'm ready to take on the world. So I'm really encouraging you. Start your day right. It may not be the same routine as the one I'm doing, but find a way that really works for you, so that when you're upbeat in the morning, chances are you'll be upbeat for the rest of the day. I talked about this, challenges are your friend, embrace them. We will have challenges throughout our lives. Challenges are not going anywhere. So you need to be able to embrace them and really use challenges as a stepping stone to really attaining the things that you want to achieve in life. Changing problems is a sign of progress. We grow to face new challenges. Eat well, exercise regularly. You remember when I talked about physical fitness? Sometimes if you're not fit, that can kill your motivation. So you need to make sure that you eat well, you rest well, you exercise regularly, you boost your energy, because the more you do that, it really helps you. I remember I can compare myself before I used to exercise regularly, and now that I'm exercising regularly, and the difference is massive in terms of the energy that I have and the drive that I have throughout the day. After I do my run in the morning, after I do my exercises, when I start my day, I'm ready, I'm up, my body is ready. So really exercising, eating well, looking after yourself, getting enough rest is really important to make sure that you stay motivated. And you remember when I talked about finding your own self and knowing your own moods and what really triggers you? It's very important to find yourself and know yourself, because once you do that, you can help yourself stay motivated. And last but not least, reward yourself daily. It's very important. Life is not just a constant struggle. You need to find ways to reward yourself. Find ways to really tap yourself in the shoulder and say, Charles, you're doing well. Charles, this is brilliant. Personally, I do this every evening. On my planner, I have a section where I can really sort of hype myself up and say, like, Charles, you've done well. This is what you've done well. What is it that you did really well today? Keep this up. Find ways to reward yourself on a daily basis, because the more you do that, the more motivated you will to keep going. Because the truth of the matter is, the world is so negative out there. And if you don't counteract that with positive affirmations about yourself, then chances are you'll be demotivated most of the time. So you need to reward yourself and really hype yourself, because sometimes you're the only person that can say something good about yourself. So keep doing that, and I believe that will pay dividends to you. In a nutshell, that's the end of my presentation, and I will invite a few contributions before we wind up based on that, about motivation killers, about how to stay motivated. What do you guys think? I would like to hear a few contributions before we wrap up. What do you think, guys?
Me?
Go on, Dr. Kanena.
Well, I just want to make a small point, and it is to you, to ask you that I would like to have a debate with you that I cannot do on this platform.
Yes.
But whenever we will meet, and I will give you a hint that my debate would be touching on motivation for things like spirituality and Christianity and social and social concepts like equality, fairness, justice, those type of, from a sociological point of view, I would like to have a debate with you, not in this platform, but some other time when we meet.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I welcome that with both hands. Absolutely. We should do that. Thank you, sir. Any other contribution before we wrap up?
Yeah, Eva here. Thank you for that. And yes, Dr. Kanina, can I be part of that conversation?
You're welcome.
I mean, just to point out, yeah, thank you, Charles, for a very well delivered message today. And I just wanted to say, I think also there are two classes of motivated people. So there are people who need to get motivated. But once you get motivated, and I think at the end of motivation comes discipline. So because, and I think that's where, when you sent out this topic, I thought, oh, okay, I've read a few books, but I need to like harness it into it. And I thought, you get this hyped up, but as you said, even as you said about what you do in the morning, you wake up, you do your daily devotion, you're hyped up for the day, but it's so your motivation has stopped, but your discipline has started, because you have to have the rituals that now propel you to have the motivation that carries on to discipline, and that allows you to form a habit. So I think this is a major and a bigger conversation than just motivation, and I feel like this is the next step. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Eva. Any other contribution? And then we're going to wrap up.
Okay, it's Emily here.
Two more contributions and then we wrap up. Emily?
Yeah, Emily. Yeah, so talking of motivation, sometimes we are motivated, so we think anyway, but like you've listed the things that hold us back. But sometimes the things that hold us back is not what is on the list there. Maybe it's our self-beliefs. It's our beliefs and our learned behaviors, things that we were taught, and we were taught that they are the right way of doing things. Sometimes if you don't take time to unlearn those behaviors, you might find that actually they are like a block for you moving forward. So sometimes it is necessary to just retrace our steps back to see what we need to unlearn before we're able to move forward.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you so much. One last opportunity for one last person for a contribution, and then we will end our meeting there. One more person, if there is anyone with a contribution.
Charles, if I may comment there, Lydia, and say, for me, this is a Leo masterclass, and we need more of this. And what you have explained there, Lydia, goes to inform that very first slide you showed us, that the difference between our goals and meeting them is the story we tell ourselves. And that story can only be told by ourselves, which is why self-motivation comes in here. And I also like the fact that you analyzed the forces for action, where you talked about, acting based on necessity, motivation and ambition. And what I liked in that element, and I like that it is your quotation, you're now in that group of philosophers who have quotes behind them, where you say action based on ambition fuels, or fueled by self-ambition, is what leads to growth, thriving, and success. And I think that's where we all want to be. So if we have the ambition and perhaps not driven by necessity, then we may never achieve what it is that we are looking for. And I think we need to embrace all that in order to be holistic in our success journey or in our achieving in life journey. I thought that was powerful. A Leo masterclass.
Thank you so much, Cecily. Thank you so much, Cecily. And thank you, everybody else. Today's conversation has been very, very, very rich and very interactive, and we've had lots of people bringing in their contributions. I have to apologize again for the technical glitches at the beginning. It's been a bit of Mr. Murphy has hit again. Murphy's Law. But yeah, we've managed to come through and have a really rich discussion.
Dr. Charles, I just did want to add one little thing.
Who's that? I can't.
That's Hassan.
Hassan, yes, my brother.
Just little things I want to share. I think I've been attending your class since last year or last 2 years, and one of the behavior which I think it's very difficult to, and this is for the success people, the behavior of this what they call it, procrastination. It is one of the things which is delaying success. Sometimes people, they have something they want to do, but they said, okay, I will do it. I have the feeling to do it. I think this behavior is one of the major problems for the people who are not either one of the, what I can say, that it's actually, one of them, it doesn't give motivation to do things if you have this character. And one of these things, I'll give you one example. I had a friend of mine, and he has a project, and he said to me that this project, I'm going to start it next week. And I said, how can you going to start with this next week? I said, oh no, I'm going to start next week. And he started next week. That same idea I had for the last 10 years, but he managed to do it for 1 week. And guess what? He did it, and he said to me, that idea, I managed to do it for 1 week, and now I'm earning about £1,000 a day.
Wow.
And I said, okay, yes. And then he motivated me to do it, and it took like 1 year, every day I said, do it and do it. And it's something which I had for the last 10 years. I couldn't do it. Someone else do it and motivate me to do it. And it took me a while to do it. And then obviously I managed to do it, but that was a delay of 11 years. So that is, I can say, this is kind of, yes, I think one of the things which is, you didn't mention on your topic this time, but this behavior, it's one of the things which is making people not achieve their objectives.
Yeah. Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, procrastination is a killer. Procrastination is a killer, and it's one of the things that if you're serious about achieving, if you're serious about being an achiever, meaning if you want to plan things and get them done, you have to find a way to root out procrastination in your life, because procrastination, basically procrastination, if you don't know, is that habit of putting things off. You know, you say you're going to do something, and then you kind of think, anyway, I'll do it another time. Or something else comes up, I'll do it another time. I'll do it another time. I'll do it another time. And before you know it, like Brother Hassan is saying here, a couple of years on, and you haven't done it. So yeah, that is a really important point. And maybe another day we'll spend more time talking about procrastination and how practically, step by step, how we can overcome procrastination. Because if we manage to do that in our lives, I think it goes a long way into taking us closer to our success. Having said that, guys, thank you so much, everybody, and thank you. We've spent a little bit longer than we wanted to, but I believe and hope that it's been valuable to you. I've added value to you, and the conversation we've had here together is, as tools, can really help you to achieve things that you want to achieve in your life, or more so, just bring more of this conversation in our communities and in our circles, because I think we need to speak more about these things, about motivating ourselves and about encouraging ourselves to do better on a day-to-day basis. Having said that, thank you so much. Hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time. Please stay tuned for more information on things to come, and hope to see you again. Have a blessed weekend. Take care.